Hello y'all, welcome to my home economics series. The reason why I wanted to make this series is because a lot of us Muslim girls are deliberately failed and purposely handicapped by our parents and our community and our societies just at large, just so that the few of us that dare to go ahead and venture out and build our own lives, move out, of our homes, move out the country, go off to university, face the hardest time ever. Okay? The reason why most of us are not taught about personal finance, how to take care of our health, how to properly grocery shop, how to pay bills, how to lease an apartment, how to have a credit score, how to maintain a proper credit score, how to take care of our sexual health, how to take care of your reproductive health, how to make sure you pay your bills on time, how to make sure none of your accounts go into the negatives. For example, recently I had to explain to my sister that I have all my bills on auto pay and I'm not a billionaire. I'm not a billionaire. I don't wake up at any given weekday and open up my bank account and see my shit in the negatives, because before I moved out, what I did is I calculated all of my, I made a rough estimate of all of the bills that would consistently come out of my bank account monthly. I did not include groceries because one day I might want a fruit, one day I might want some like cookies and ice cream, and like my grocery bill fluctuates, my electricity bill fluctuates. So anyways, I'm getting ahead of myself, but basically I calculated all of my consistent bills that I would have every month, that being my renter's insurance, my car insurance, my rent, my a Wi-Fi bill, my phone bill, and a couple of other things, right? I calculated that number and it came out, I forgot what it was, but it came out to I think $1,400 a month. I don't have many expenses, okay? I have Mint Mobile for a phone carrier. My apartment is not expensive. It's not expensive for the whole of America. For the area that I live in and the region that I live in, it's kind of average. And so yeah, so my rent's not that expensive, and it came out to around, I think, $1,400, right? I saved up that amount and I opened up a separate account in my bank account called the bills account, and I got to label it, and I just labeled it bills. And I put that money down as the deposit for myself as a buffer. And then I went into my work portal and I did the math on, I get paid every week, okay? So how much money do I have to siphon to my bills account every week in order at the end of the month to have $1,400 in that account? I did the math and it came up to, I forgot what it was, $300. So $300 from every single one of my checks. Dude, the math might be way off, but I don't care, I'm really bad at math. But hypothetically, in an alternate universe, it's $300. So I went into my work portal and I had $300 for my paycheck siphoned off into this other account. And so the next step was to connect all of my reoccurring bills to this bank account, or to this bank account that's in my account. I'm confusing myself. I'm pretty sure you guys are following my thought process. And so all my bills automatically get pulled from this account, and every single week my work portal is siphoning off money into this account, refilling it, and I have created a buffer so that even if, let's just say, I got paid less a certain week and not all of the $300 got sent or siphoned off into that account itself, I have a buffer. I have a safety buffer. Are you guys following what I'm saying? So no one is taught this. It's not really rocket science. It has made my life very peaceful. I just wake up on the first and I don't even think about it. For example, my renter's insurance gets pulled every 15th of every month. I don't think about it. I don't have to go in my account and and guess what? $1,400 was not that much to save up over a couple months span just to create that buffer for myself. So it's not something extremely difficult for a working class individual to do for themselves, just to prevent like late fees, draft fees, all of that, going into the negatives. And just to prevent all of that, I have this account set up. And so I want to educate young women on how to stand on their own 2 feet. Society likes to disable us because it likes to make an example of those of us who fail at being adults. And it likes to remind us, oh, see that girl, or see that girl who got pregnant when she was 17? See, look what happens when you sleep around. No, that's what happens when you don't have proper sexual education. Getting pregnant should not be the consequence of fucking. it's 2026. We have modern science, okay? I used to work at an OBGYN for a while. It was the most traumatic job that I've ever had in my life, but I learned a lot there. And one of the things that would make me happy, but at the same time very, very sad, is I would see 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds coming in with their moms. They would be black, they would be Asian, they'd be Hispanic, they'd be white, but they would never, ever, ever be Muslim. And then I looked at my childhood and my youth and my teenagehood, and I never once went to the OBGYN with my mother. I never once visited a gynecologist with my mother. And I remember when I was 14, I had my tonsils taken out. I would consistently get like tonsil stones, and those are really fucking nasty. And I would constantly get throat infections or tonsil infections. And I advocated for myself, and I set up the appointments, and I called the surgeons, and I did all of that myself anyways. But when I got that surgery, I was prescribed antibiotics, and that dose or that antibiotic completely wrecked my system. I am not kidding. It sent me to Jahannam, to the pits of Jahannam. I'm pretty sure it sent me to wherever the hell Iblis is gonna get sent to. Like, and for the first 4 days of me going through that for the first time in my life, that was the first time in my life that my system was ever thrown off. Like, at that time, I've had my period for a couple years, and still nothing really quite threw me off. Like, I was perfectly fine. I had 14 years of bliss before I experienced Jahannam itself. And for the first 4 days, I tried to muster through it. I literally tried to muster through it. Plus, I was confused. I was like, did I not wash my pee properly? Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, why is everything burning and painful? Like, do I have an STD? And at that time, I was taking a sex ed class, and we were talking about STDs. And I was sitting there in class like, we're talking about burning and stuff. Like, yo, just, no shade, like, what the fuck? Like, at that point, bitch, I was searching up demonic sexual assault, demon succubus, like, transmission of STD. Like, I was losing my shit because, like, ain't no fucking way, bro. Like, I'm being real quiet on the creek. I was very quiet on the creek, bro. It wasn't being quiet on the creek, but I was very quiet on the creek. And so a few more days went by. I call up my mom, or I just, waved over my mom to the bathroom, and I had her take a look, and her advice was not helpful. She basically told me, you were not washing caridad correctly, which is, I love my mom, but Somali mothers are not educated on feminine health at all. Zero. If you want to throw your system off, listen to a Somali mother. Anyways, I powered through that for a couple more days, and at that time, it was about, 7 days. So it got up to day 7. So now I'm on a week of suffering, of pure doom and despair. And I decided to call up my family doctor. And a receptionist answers the phone. And she's like, hey, like, what can I help you with? And I'm like, hi. And she's like, what's your name? What's your date of birth? And I give her my date of birth. And she's like, oh, honey, like, what's up? What's going on? Because I was 14. I was a child calling a doctor to make an appointment. And I was like, yeah, like, I don't know what's going on. I searched up my symptoms. I think it's a yeast infection and a couple other things. Like, I'm scared, like, I'm suffering. And she was like, oh my God, honey, how long has this been going on? I said about like 7 or 8 days. And she was literally shocked. She was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, can I schedule an appointment for like next week? And she was like, next week? Girl, go to the ER. And so, or come make a emergency appointment with a gynecologist. And so she was able to get me in, I think either later that day or the next day. And I just asked my dad to drive me, and I said, I'm not feeling well, I just have a doctor's appointment. He did not ask any questions. And so he took me, and I got tested, and then I got given the best medication probably ever created and ever known to man, fluconazole. Bro, that shit. Bro, if I could literally kiss and marry whoever made that medication, I would. It is top motherfucking tier. And so I learned from that day on that I have a very sensitive system when it comes to antibiotics, and the doctor recommended anytime that you ever take an antibiotic, ask for fluconazole. You must. Like, if this is how you're reacting, this is how sensitive your system is, just ask for it automatically, and they will prescribe that alongside the antibiotic. And that is a lesson that I learned by myself at 14. And I was a very resourceful child. I did suffer for about 7 days simply because I did not know what it was, and I was literally thinking I was getting demonically raped by a succubus that was transmitting STDs. Bitch, I was so scared. Like, it was the worst timing. It was the worst timing to have a sex ed class. But anyways, moving on. I just want to educate so many young Muslim girls to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. And I've been getting a couple DMs just throughout the day, and what I'm realizing is it's not just young Muslim girls. It's girls that are 27, 28, 29 who don't know anything, who literally don't know a single thing because lama barin. All they've ever done is wake up, go to school, clock in, and come home, aka the lifestyle of a teenager who do not know much. Genuinely, they don't know how to link up a electricity company to your apartment when you move into a new apartment, which is something that you have to do. They don't know how to pick a carrier for their phone. They don't understand the difference between an unlocked phone and a locked phone. They don't know how to pay for car insurance. They don't know how to apply for car insurance. They don't know how to buy a car. They don't know how to register a car. They don't know how to consistently or like pay for their registration every single time they need to pay for their registration. They don't know how to maintain a car. So many girls do not know the maintenance that needs to go into a car legally, and just, you know, the functionings of a car. A lot of girls do not know how to maintain a proper credit score because nobody has taught them, bro. This one girl I know, no shade, I love you, she's very close to me. One day we were talking about credit cards, and I was like, yeah, I just paid off the full balance of my card. And she's like, oh yeah, like I do that too. And I'm like, okay, well, how much did you pay recently? I'm like, you've been spending quite a lot, like we're having a ball. And she told me, oh, I've been paying $30 every month. So that's not paying the card off. Open your credit card app. She had a couple thousand, like, you know, she had a couple thousand balance because she thought in her mind she was paying off the card by paying the minimum. I just had to take a deep breath. I'm like, oh, okay. And then this other girl I knew was like, oh yeah, my bank account's in the negatives. And then a couple weeks later, she was like, oh yeah, I just got randomly locked out of that bank account. It just got shut off. It's whatever. And I was like, hey, so that just took a massive ding to your credit score. The money you owed the bank that was in the negatives, that locked your account, your regular, you know, check-ins account, I don't know what it was, that didn't just disappear into the ether. That just dinged your credit score horribly. Right. Also, a lot of you girls who pay rent, stop paying the rent under your mother's name. For example, if you live in an apartment, you pay rent, you have your mother, your father, your whatever, go down to the leasing office. If you are over the age of 18, you must be a member. Like anytime you go into your apartment portal, let's just say you live in apartment ABC, you go on to ABC payment portal, right? Instead of automatically paying the money through your mother, you know, you should have all the adults listed when you log into the portal for your apartment number. Instead of having the money automatically get taken out of your mom's account or your dad's account, switch the account member who's paying to yourself, and then leave your dad or your mom's credit card, so that you get to build up a renter's history as a paying person. I've done that for about 4.5 years, and so I have 4 years of renter's history with my name that I got to submit when I applied for this apartment. Every single month when it was under my name in the apartment. Are you guys following what I'm saying? Like when you log into your apartment portal, all the adults' names should pop up. You are able to pick which one is paying the rent, right? Because you guys are technically roommates in that apartment building. And so if your mom is constantly the one paying all the money, it's gonna say her name and then the renter's history of July, January, February, blah, blah, blah. Instead of having it be her, change it to your name. So let's just say you're 18. When you become 18, say like, oh, like I'm gonna set up something, blah, 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 go onto the account. You should be able to log in. And that's not something your Somali parents are gonna guard because they're not even gonna see it coming. Log in, switch the adult member who's paying to yourself, and then put the card login information to yourself. Somehow just tell them, oh, there was like an update and I just read a warqad that said that you have to update your payment system. Give me your card so I can update the rent, blah, 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 blah. Go in there and type yourself in if your family is renting, and make yourself the paying member so you can have a rap sheet of multiple months of rent being paid for yourself. So you could build renter's history. If you live in your parents' home and they bought the home, I'm gonna make advice videos on how to build up a renter's history, something like blah, blah. I am gonna help you regardless find a way to be credible when it comes to applying for apartments. That being said, I am just gonna read off the things that I wanna get into in this series. I have my trusty dandy iPad here. Took the case off, so if it's kind of grimy, I don't care. So the first thing I'm going to get into is the mindset. There's no point of you planning to move out or for you to plan to be a self-sufficient adult if you don't think that you are a self-sufficient adult. A lot of people like to glorify being a stay-at-home daughter, just going to school and not working, not having a job. I knew this one girl that came from a more comfortable background whose father would provide her whatever she needed, and I think she was like 21 or 22, and she never quite had a job. And I had to tell her, listen, Allahumma barak, mashallah, if I was lucky enough to not work, I probably would have taken up the same opportunity as you, but you need to get a fucking job. You're getting older, and if anything bad happens, or if you ever want to escape your living situation, and the living situation was not good at all, you don't have any experience. You never even had a job as a teenager. So I want to, talk about the mindsets that a lot of people have. I have been DM'd by a couple girls that are like single moms who are mothers who fear, going out into the world and providing a life for themselves. Like, the Muslim community would rather not have their daughters be able to stand on their own 2 feet, even if they become mothers, than have fully capable adult women. Why are there people who have brought children onto the earth not prepared to take care of themselves? Why are they systematically failed by their society? Why is that something that's acceptable in the Muslim community? Why is it acceptable to have a stay-at-home daughter that's 23, 24, 25? Why is it acceptable to have a 27-year-old daughter who knows nothing about personal finance, who goes to work every day, but who has no savings and who has a shit credit score? Why is it acceptable to not know how to grocery shop, how to buy nutritious meals? Bro, I knew this one lady who got about $1,200 in food stamps, who would buy her children cookies, biscudo, some random shit, and by the end of the month would run out of food stamps. I'm like, bro, no conservative shit. Like, I was so tempted to call up Trump and be like, listen, these motherfucking Somalis, bro. Like, I was so tempted to just violently crash out, but I had to hold that in because it's not my business. And I had to be real quiet on the creek, but like, how are you not able to stretch that money to provide for your family? But what I see constantly in your car is Buscuda, Capri Suns, little, and you're like, oh hell nah, girl, nah, you gotta get your ass beat. You have to get your ass beat for that. But oh my god, my legs are getting numb. Oh, my leg is so numb. But back to the list, I want to talk about mental health. Mental health first and foremost. I want to talk about delayed gratification, building a self-image, a proper self-image. I'm going to talk about personal development, stuff like that. Also, I want you guys to understand it's going to take a while for you to be mentally ready enough to take on the world. You're not going to watch my videos and then immediately get out there and start shaking shit down. You're not. It took me up until being 24, actually 23, I moved out when I was 23, to fully go out there into the world. I didn't move out when I was 18. Okay? Another thing that I just want to add is that Muslim girls never, I don't know how to say this kindly, but Muslim girls never become fully grown adults or fully individuated individuals until they get married. A lot of us have not partaken in youth sports. A lot of us never really joined clubs. So not only did we not do sports, we did not do a lot of extracurricular activities, we did not do a lot of clubs. Half of the reason I would say is because of our families, economic situation that they were in, and the other half is because you can't really play volleyball in hijab, and a lot of parents are not going to allow you to run around a basketball court with shorts on. You can't really do swimming. You're not really going to do gymnastics. What else is left? Soccer? Are you still going to run around a field with a suwalan? Are you going to run on a field with pants? Like, that's unacceptable. So a lot of our parents never prioritized sports. We never got to go to camps during the summer. We never got to experience competition, self-development, athletic achievements. Quite literally all we were ever allowed to do is eat, sleep, shower, go to school, and get the fuck back home. And that cycle continues up until college, post-college. When does a Muslim girl actually do shit for herself, genuinely? You can dilly-dally around a mall with your friends, but when do you actually do anything outside of taking a shower, going home, going to work, or going to school, and maybe dilly-dallying with your friends? Like, when do you actually develop proper life skills that will be the foundation of your adult life? Like, I work at a dental clinic, and every single time the dentist comes in, he likes to ask the patients, hey, what are you doing for the summer? And anytime it's a kid, they would be like, I have baseball and soccer, and I have this, cyber club where I'm doing random robotic stuff that my parents have signed me up for. And then anytime it's like a mom and dad, it's like, oh, well, I'm busy with the kids, and like, oh my gosh, my daughter, she has this dance class, and then my other son, he's doing baseball, and just it's wrapping up right now. We just got done, and then here goes the dentist. Yeah, my son just got done with baseball, and now he's doing soccer, and they're just watching the World Cup, and yeah, no, my other daughter, she's doing this and this and this and this, and I'm like listening to this conversation, and it's completely foreign to me. Having something planned out for your kids during the summer is a completely foreign concept. Like, wait, what the fuck? So you're telling me the kids I went to class with were going to multiple camps, a tech program, were attending multiple sports events, and were participating as well. Holy shit. And I was getting put to bed. I was living like a fucking hollow, like just boom, 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 say help. Like, that was it. Bitch, I'm dead ass. Like, and then when I became a preteen, I was on the iPad just watching K-dramas and, thirsting over Jimin and all the members of, forgot their name. What's their name? They were the male K-pop group before the one Jimin's in. What the hell were they? EXO. Oh, EXO! So T. I was obsessed, bitch. Now, all you little K-pop hoes do not understand that I was on that shit in 2014. Was quite on the creek. I was listening to AOA, EXO. Oh my god, my biggest crush was Kai. And people hated him because he was dark skinned, but all the other niggas look ugly as shit. Like Kai was so T. I was on YouTube and I was watching, also I was on Polyvore, shutting shit the fuck down. And the day it shut down, well, I got chabay. Like, that was the first time I experienced grief and qalbi kachimis was when Polyvore got shut down. And if you know what Polyvore is, girl, please. I need to start up a class action lawsuit for that shutdown or for the selling of Polyvore. I then became a refugee to Pinterest, and I have never left since. But the only reason I went onto Pinterest is because Polyvore got shut down. I was a Polyvore refugee. Only the realists would really get it. Only the realists would get it. But basically what I'm trying to say is, a lot of us Muslim kids, period, because we come from first generation immigrant families, like if you have parents who have college degrees and you're from a very different socioeconomic status and you were also Muslim, you most likely had dance classes, were a part of sports programs. But talking to first generation immigrant kids, a lot of us were just fed, clothed, and put to bed. And especially for us girls, we quite literally never got to grow up and individuate. We never got to develop a sense of self. We never really faced anything challenging. Period. Like, if I look back on my childhood, it's like, what the fuck did I actually do outside of school? What did I do outside of school? Like, my little brother was in basketball, he was in boxing, he was in a couple sports teams, funded by, our middle school and our, he never went to high school, or he never went to the high school that I went to, but it was funded by our middle school and by the elementary school he went to. And he was allowed to go to those teams because he got to wear the shorts and the cutoff shirts, and he was a boy. You know what I mean? I couldn't do that because my parents couldn't allow the dress code. And my sister, when she was younger, joined the volleyball team in middle school. And one day, bro, she got caught in the volleyball team uniform, and she still had a hijab on. And my mom and dad crashed out. And then one day, she got on the bus to a volleyball tournament at a different school. And my parents called the cops because they were like, she didn't come home. She didn't come home. She didn't come home. And that was the last time she was ever in volleyball. And she loved the fuck out of volleyball. And bro, my sister's strong. She has a very strong arm. And so that was the last day she was ever in sports, genuinely, last day. And coming back to what I was saying and coming back to the series, a lot of us were never given the opportunity to develop some strength, some resilience, a level of just competitiveness. A lot of us are not competitive in nature because we were never allowed to compete. We were never allowed to enter arenas where we can fully let out our aggression and our competition. Like, So many of us are very comfortable laying around the house, you know, arguing with our mom and dad back and forth when we're 23, 24, 25 as to what we can do in life, and we doubt ourselves 24/7 because we have zero life experience. A lot of the reason why you feel so unsure about yourself is because you have nothing to reference for the most part. Besides eating, getting dressed, going to school, and coming back home, what the fuck do you have to reference? Like, when I was 18, especially as an introverted person, if you are an introverted person, you're quite literally done for. My sister is very extroverted, and she would go out a lot, and she had a lot of ample scenarios to learn interpersonal relationships, overcoming friendship breakups. I never experienced any of those things because I was a loner. I never got to experience falling out with a friend. I never got to experience a rumor being made about me and like having to recover from that. I never experienced having to stand up for myself because like no one ever checked for me. No one ever went out their way to be disrespectful. So I was allowed to live in my little bubble and never develop any skills. And so when I turned 18 and my coworkers are being motherfuckers to me and they're you know, trying me and they're being disrespectful, I had nothing to go off of. I had K-drama, Kai, EXO, H2O Just Add Water, Vampire Diaries, and a Pretty Little Liars and a couple other things, and a personality basically built off the internet to go ahead and defend myself. I was a little baby duck thrown into adulthood. And then there goes my, you know, very traditional Muslim parents just looking at me like, oh, simply because in their Somali mind, as long as you're fed and put to bed, as long as you turn and you age and you're fed and you're clothed and you're good, they don't prioritize life experience. They don't prioritize competition. They don't prioritize actual skills. I mean, they will allow their boys to do it or to do so if they have the money. But there's no avenues to develop a sense of self if you're a Muslim girl. Please comment down below what helped you build a sense of self outside of eating, getting dressed, going to school, getting proper grades, and working maybe a part-time job under the age of 18. Please comment down below what helped you build a sense of self if you are a girl. I can promise you it's fucking nothing. And Duxie does not count. Duxie does not count. Electric chair, if you just tried to comment, well, I went to Duxie. Electric chair. That does not count. Moving on. The next subject I'm going to move into is personal finance. I'm talking building credit, opening credit cards, which credit cards to never, ever, ever, ever apply for. For example, one of the ones you should never apply for or have is Credit One. Never apply for Credit One or Capital One. Those two are demons. Discover is also a bitch, but you can work with them. But those two never apply for Credit One and Capital One. Khasaro. The differences between a W-2, W-4, and 1099 when it comes to taxes. Retirement accounts. I have a 401k plan that my employer matches. I have a HSA account that I deposit money into for my health care. I recently started investing in the stock market. I have a couple index funds that I put money into, and I forgot what, I think it's Fidelity that I use, or is it Fidelity? I had this older man to set an account up for me, and I picked a index fund that's half American and half international, because I just feel like everything that's going on in America and a lot of American stocks are just a bunch of fucking shithole. Like it's a shit show. But how to open up a Roth IRA account, and also a lot of us first generation immigrants growing up had state health insurance. But once you start making over a certain amount, right, and you're under the age of 26, because most kids or most adults who are under the age of 26 and whose parents make more than the minimum that's allowed to be on state health insurance have health insurance through their parents. And so they don't really have to figure out health insurance and how to apply for it, what a deductible is, all of that until they're 26. But I was kicked off state health insurance when I was 21 because I made too much. And when that happened, I was kind of lost, and I didn't have health insurance for a very long time because I didn't know how to apply for it, and I was too dumb to look into it like at my job, even though most jobs offer health insurance. I'm gonna get into negotiating a salary. When I worked at that OBGYN clinic, I was getting paid more than all the girls that were smarter than me. I was getting paid, I think, $1.50 more than them because I learned how to negotiate for my salary. And this one super pretty girl, she was, I think, Eritrean, got hired at my job, and she was touring the area, and I thought she was Somalian. So I immediately went up to her, I'm like, oh my God, mashallah, how are you? She's like, oh, I'm Eritrean, and I'm Christian. I'm like, still don't, like, it's Tito, like, you were immediately my best friend because you're East African. Like, we're immediately sisters here. Like, I don't know none of these, like, Adan girls. Like, you're my girl, period. And she was like, oh, is it okay for me to ask how much you get paid? And she was like, and I was like, oh, I get paid $24.50. And she was like, really? It's like, well, they offered me like they offered me $22. And I'm like, if you don't get your ass back in there and ask for more, because I asked for $25, and I told the person who interviewed me, I'm not working for anything below $25. And at the time, I was making, or the job before that job, I was making $29 an hour. And the way I got that $29 an hour job is I was at this job that was paying me $20 an hour, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna get paid money. I don't wanna work this broke ass job. And so I went on the job search, and then I spoke to this one lady. She was a recruiter, and she was like, oh, how much do you want to get paid? And I said 29. And she told me, you're not gonna get paid 29. She was like a racist Adam lady, right? It's like, there's no way you're gonna get paid 29. What? Like, that's the same amount somebody with years of experience get paid. How would you get paid $29 and you don't even have a college degree and you don't have much experience, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay, well, lady, goodbye. I want to get paid $29 an hour. It is what it is. Thank you. I'm not interested in your company. I'm not interested in your whatever you're doing. Thank you for your time. I obviously said that in a more respectful tone. I left. I found another job that paid $29 an hour. She called me back up 2.5 weeks later, offering me a work from home job for $28. That's how I know I don't fuck with negotiating my pay. You're gonna pay me what I deserve, and I'm not gonna get punked out of my paycheck. So basically, I took a cut in pay because I was leaving the job because I didn't like it. Anytime I don't like a job, I leave it. And so the guy offered me, I think, $21, and I was like, no, and this is how much I'm used to getting paid. I'm looking for a job that can pay me around $25 an hour minimum. And he was like, okay, well, I can pay you around $24.50. And I was like, thank you, I'll take it. She went back in that room, and she got paid exactly as much as I did. And I said, clock that tea. I'm like, girl, if you don't take your ass back in that room and go tell them you're not going to take anything less than $25 an hour like I did, because trust me, these companies have money to pay people, okay? But as long as you're hella quiet accepting all their bullshit, they're not going to offer you a higher paycheck. Why would a company voluntarily offer you more money than you're asking for? Why would they do that? Anyways, I'm going to teach you guys how to negotiate for your pay. I'm going to teach you guys how to build your credit. For example, I built my credit for about 1.5 years through a debit card that was connected to my bank account. I didn't trust myself at that time yet with a balance with a credit card that had like a nice amount that I could spend, because I was afraid of overspending, getting into debt, and then developing a bad credit score. And so I found this debit card that got tied to my bank account, that got tied to my regular debit card, and I used that consistently as my main card. And that built my credit for me for over 1.5 years. And if my bank account, my own personal bank account, was to drop down to $0, guess how much I would be able to spend on that debit card that was building me credit? $0. The second I bought a drink at Dunkin' Donuts for $11, not $11, maybe like $7, that $7 would get immediately pulled from my debit account and sent to this debit card that's building my credit automatically. And so without even thinking or fearing interest and riba and all this other bullshit, I was able to build a credit score, not worrying about debt, not worrying about anything. And I just got to spend my money as I wished, as I cared for. I didn't care. As long as I had the money in my account, I was gonna go shopping at the mall, I was gonna go to TJ Maxx, I was gonna buy myself perfumes, and I was gonna go out with my sister and my little brother. I was gonna do everything I wanted, and I did not have to fear the consequences of a statement being due, because it always got pulled. And it forever stayed a debit card. And I never had a line of credit. My line of credit was just whatever was in my checking account. So I'm gonna get into all of that. I'm gonna get into emergency funds. I have like a funny question for you guys that I want you to comment down below whether you know or not. Do you know the difference between when you go to tap your card, let's just say at a gas station, at a fast food restaurant, or just anywhere in general, and you have the option between typing in your PIN or clicking the green button and skipping your PIN? Do you know the difference? Do you know the difference between typing in your PIN or clicking credit while you're using your debit card? If you do, comment down below. If you don't, I will be making a video on that. I'm gonna go into basically everything that I know about finance, everything that I know about savings, everything that I know about retirement, everything that I know about investing, which is very limited. I just got into that. I got into that maybe this past April. That's when I started investing in an index fund. The next thing I'm going to get into is career, employment, and skill development. I know so many different websites that will give you licenses for medical assisting, CNA, and that will find you internships at different clinics. I found this out through the Eritrean girl. She did a 2.5 month course online, and then they found her a clinic to work at, and she interned there, and she got her medical assisting license. I know a couple other girls that got their CNA license, and just other licenses that you can get. And I'm going to help you guys build a resume, write a cover letter, apply for jobs, interview prep, wearing proper clothes, follow up, how to find a job in this climate. I have always been able to find jobs. Granted, when I was younger, the economy was better, but even now I have 2 jobs, and they're 2 very nice jobs. And I was able to get both of these jobs through training, through college, one of which I was able to get through my sister, but it's a very nice second job to have because I use that job to buy all of the knickknacks that I have laying around my apartment. The next thing I'm going to go into is like FAFSA, grants, scholarships. The reason why I have my apartment is because I got like a grant/scholarship that pays for my living expenses. For example, around like June 15th, I got 5 bands, 5 motherfucking bands. Back in the spring, I got 4.5. Back in the last fall, I got around 4.5. And then what I do with that money, what I did with the spring and fall money of the 2026 and 2025 is I saved up all of that, and I was able to pay my security deposit, last month's rent, furnish my entire place, and it gave me extra room to put money down into my buffered deposit money, into my bills account. For example, this fall in September, I'm getting another 4,500, maybe 5 bands. I don't even pay rent, bro. Like, if I'm being honest, like I work and then I have this grant pay for my money, and I found that grant online. I know that's right. I'm gonna get into housing, living expenses. I'm talking lease, deposit, utility setup, renter's insurance, roommates. I don't have roommates, but if you did have roommates, what you would do, I think it's very smart to have roommates, but I can see how moving out of a very overstimulating ethnic household and then moving into a roommate situation can be very detrimental. The reason why I chose to live alone is because like I can't deal with no bullshit. Wallahi, I can't deal with anything. I need quiet, peace, silence for the next 15 years. After growing up in just an ethnic household, period. Keep in mind, I have a very lovely family and a very amazing mother and father, but like, there's just no fucking way. There's no way I'm gonna move out of an ethnic household into a roommate situation with like these people. I'm gonna crash out. They will not understand me. I will not understand them. I don't like dogs and shit. I don't want men in my apartment. For example, like if I had a roommate, there's no way I'm gonna be able to tell her, hey, don't invite your boyfriend. Then I'm gonna get into cleaning, basic maintenance. Like, for example, when I moved into my apartment, I requested a maintenance man and or a leasing agent to come to my apartment and to evaluate the apartment before I moved in. And then I asked them for a signed paperwork or for a signed paper listing out everything that was going wrong with my apartment before I moved in. I forgot what that was called, but that's like, it's something that you can request within the first 14 days of moving into an apartment. So within the first 14 days of moving to an apartment, it is your legal right in the state that I live in to request a inspection of your apartment while you're there and list everything out and then have that signed off. For example, there's a couple little, I wouldn't say warps, but there's a wear and tear in the kitchen cabinet. So when you open up the cabinets, obviously someone lived here before me. So I can see where their little salt seasoning was at. I can tell where they left the oil container at. I can tell where, a little mug was sat while it was still kind of damp. Nothing serious. My apartment's like very nice. It was renovated. It's pretty cute, but I can tell. Also, when I first moved in, the shower wasn't draining correctly, and I had that listed off, and the windows weren't fully closing. Like I could tell the windows, there was like a gap, and I'm like, I don't like this gap. I don't know what's going on. It kind of feels like I have to punch in the window. So I was able to get everything listed off because I knew the legal rights I had within my state. I got to call in an inspection before I moved in, and I have that sheet, and I took a scan of it on my iPad. The nice things about the newer iPads is you can scan just in the camera app, but if you don't have an iPad, download a scanning or a fax app, and then you can take a picture of a paperwork, or you can take a picture of a paper, and it will automatically generate that to look like you put it through a fax machine. So that's what I did. I set up a cleaning routine, a cleaning regimen. For example, I don't have an in-unit washer and dryer, but we do have 2 washers and 2 dryers on my floor that only my floor can access, and it does not require any coins. It just comes, it's added onto our rent. It's a part of our rent, so nobody has to put in coins or anything. It's just open for everybody. But I kind of got used to like the ebbs and flow of my laundry room. People usually like to clean their laundry on the weekends and later at night randomly. So I got used to doing my laundry on the 2 days that I go to work late, you know? Anyways, also I'm gonna go into nutrition. I'm gonna go into food. I'm gonna go into cooking. I'm gonna go into reducing food waste. I'm gonna go into proper, just proper nutrition. I feel like a lot of us are used to eating bris, basta, grease, like hilib, like, and then a lot of our Somali mothers are very heavy-handed with the oil. Like they will dump a gallon of oil into something that does not require it. So now I have like a spray bottle that has oil in it, and I only spray it a couple times. How to use a dishwasher. I do not wash dishes by hand. I have not washed dishes by hand since I moved in. And the reason why I never got to use a dishwasher properly is because my Somali family members do not understand that once the dishwasher is running, do not fucking open it. Why are you opening a dishwasher running halfway through its cycle? I'm about to beat everybody's ass. And so when I moved out, I got double the amount of dishes that I needed, just so if I had started the dishwasher, I still have access to other dishes. And that never really happens because I have so much dishes for one person. Like I have a set of 4 cups, a set of 4 mugs, a set of 4 plates, a set of 4 side dishes, a set of like 6 bowls, like multiple forks, multiple spoons. Like I got multiple sets, so that when my dishwasher is running, I don't have to go back in there and grab a mug and cup. But like when you live with an ethnic family, bro, they be just taking shit in and out, even if there's dishes in the flipping cabinet. As you can tell, my nervous system has regulated so much since moving out. I'm gonna teach you guys how to be in and out of the house in under 30 minutes. I have not been late to work since I moved out of my family's home. I've been on time to both of my jobs since I think February. I'm not even kidding. Actually, I have not been late to work since like 2025 because I just knew I was gonna move out. So like I started to like become more mature and organized and like on time and more punctual. I'm gonna get into sexual health. I'm gonna get into birth control, STD, all of that. I'm getting into all of that. If you are under the age of 18 and you're active, or you want to be active, or you want to get tested, you do not need your parents' approval. I'm telling you, I live in a Midwestern state. You do not need a parent's approval. In fact, at my dental clinic, the second a kid hits I think 16 years old, we have the parents sign a a release of information form, just so that they can go back and sit with their kid. And when I worked at the OBGYN clinic, we had the parents sign a release of information with the kid and with the kid's consent, if they even wanted to go back in the room with them. So you do not need your parents' approval to go to a gynecologist. You do not need your parents' approval to get birth control. And if you are on your parents' insurance and they're very, 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 very strict, and you know they're the type to go through your or to go through their health insurance plan to see what medications is getting bought and approved of, because some parents are really that crazy. Most are not really that hip to what's going on, you know, with their kids. Most of them are very like delayed, and they're not going to think to call up their health insurance provider and then look to see what is being approved and bought and prescribed. If that is the case though, Planned Parenthood will literally give you the medications for free. They will give you those medications for free. They will test you for free, and they will ship you whatever you need to get shipped from an online appointment. So let's just say you're 16 or like 14, 15. Kind of crazy to be doing anything at 14 or 15, but it's better to be safe if you are, you know, it's better to be safe than not. Let's just say you don't have access to a vehicle. You can make an appointment online with no insurance. You can have that package sent to a P.O. box in a unmarked shipping bag, so you will not have any information or any labeling or anything on the package to a PO box, and you can go ahead and pick that up, to your school, to a counselor's office, to a counselor's door. Be like, hey, my parents are not allowing this. Can I have this sent to this room? Can I have it sent to room 211? It's my counselor at my middle school or my high school. Honestly, middle school is kind of crazy. You might want to slow down. But let's say I'm a junior in high school. I'm going to have that sent to my counselor's office just in case. They are not allowed to tell your parents, and Planned Parenthood is not allowed to tell anybody or anything, because that's a HIPAA violation. Because it's a HIPAA violation. Even if you're 14, HIPAA violation. Your parents are kicked out of your medical charts, I think, age 12 in Minnesota. So I'm going to get into all of that, actually. I'm going to get into all of that. Yeah. I'm going to get into mental health, transportation. I know a lot of people ask me about, like, how do I get a license? How do I learn to drive? I taught myself how to drive. And I called up a driver instructor, got my license when I was 19. I sat around not knowing how to drive until I was 19 because I had no one to teach me, and I was also afraid to get behind a car myself. And I was really anxious about taking the permit test. For some reason that like freaked me out. But I was able to get all of that done, and I paid $300 for, a driver instructor, even though I did not need a driver instructor in order to get a permit. If you are under the age of 18, you have to pay a driver instructor. If you're older than that, you do not need a driver instructor. But if you have no one to teach you, it's $300. I took 2-hour-long sessions, and I took about 3 of them. And then I taught myself how to park backwards or do a 90-degree park. I don't know what it's called. I've never done one in my life. I was somehow able to do one during the test, but I've never ever even attempted that in real life. But yeah, I will make a video as to how to learn how to drive, just simply. Like, bro, I was so stupid, but I was able to get that done. While I was able to get that done, I can find resources for you guys. It is quite expensive. I'm pretty sure it's more than $300 now, but it's doable. It is doable. I'm gonna get into how to buy a car, where to look for a car, what types of cars to buy, what types to avoid. Should you lease, or should you get a car that's payments, or should you pay for a cash car? For example, if you want to lease a car, if you don't have a lot of money saved up, let's just say you have $1,000, but you need a car. Like, you need a car, like, right motherfucking now. And you have a good credit score, and you've had a good credit score for maybe a year, 2 years, 3 years. You've had it for a minute now, right? Maybe a little bit longer than a year. If you have about $1,000, you can go to a Honda dealership, you can go to a Toyota dealership, you can go to, I would say those two, and you can go ahead and try to get a lease. If you need a car desperately, the problem with leases are, there's a restriction on the amount of miles that you can drive on that car. I think you get about, on average, 30,000 miles for 3 years, which is not that much if you drive a lot. But you don't have to pay for maintenance, and you only need to deposit $1,000. Like, I'm telling you, let's just say you don't really have a choice. You need a motherfucking car, and you don't have a lot of money saved up, and you want a slightly lower payment every month. Lease a car. If you're also deeply afraid of the riba aspect, leasing a car is like renting an apartment. It's not yours. It's not riba. You're renting a car, but for 3 years or for 2 years or for whatever. The problem is, when it comes to mileage, it's not really a very smart choice financially. But if you need to survive and you need a car, and you need something that, only requires a couple $1,000s down and is around $200, $300, $400 a month, and that is not a $700 car payment plus interest, plus like a $15,000 to $10,000 deposit, leasing is an option. But that is an option I would recommend somebody that's either very wealthy, that can afford to lease nice whips every couple years, or someone who just needs to survive, who needs just a regular car, but who only has maybe $1,000 down. There are some deals that require 0 money down, but your monthly payment is going to be higher. And like, let's just say you need a car desperately, and you're going to get a FAFSA refund of $1,500, and you're able to save up another $200, maybe $400, maybe $500. You take money that's around $2,000, you go to a dealership and you lease a car if you desperately need one. Like, you just need a motherfucking car so you can get a job, and so you can get around, and so you can get away from your parents. Leasing is, I would say, a survival option for a lot of people. But once you do go over those miles, you will start to get charged per mile. Usually it's around 15 to 25 cents a mile that you go above the limit that you agree to. But I'm talking just pure survival now. Leasing is an option. And then I'm gonna get into voting, how to get registered. I don't miss a single local election, and I'm getting ready to vote the midterms this November. I'm getting ready, and I want every single person here to vote. I want every single person to register. I need everyone to have, up-to-date passports, up-to-date, what's it called, up-to-date licenses, up-to-date IDs, how to keep track of all of that, how to find all of your documentation, your birth certificate, your social security, your passport, all of that. I'm also going to go into safety. I'm going to go into how to protect yourself living on your own, how to be somebody who is street smart. Bro, I get talked to and followed, I would say, weekly. I'm not even kidding, weekly. I get tried on a weekly basis by weird ass motherfuckers just out and about, and if I was a sweeter person, if I was a more gullible individual, I would fall for their bullshit. But I'm gonna get into safety. I'm gonna get into who to invite to your place if you move out. Okay, your little apartment when you move out isn't gonna become the safe space for all the little girls that you're friends with that have toxic households. It's not gonna become the party house. It's not gonna become the apartment where everyone chills at. You're gonna get played and you're gonna get evicted. I also knew this other girl that moved into this apartment with her friend, and that friend stopped paying rent, and then that girl now has a eviction on her credit. And once you get evicted, it's as if you became a felon overnight. That is how difficult your life is going to become. Having a eviction on your record is a death sentence in America. That is not something that you ever want. It is as if you became a felon. It is so serious. And that's why I want to start off with the mental headspace. I'm also going to touch on way more subjects than the ones I listed today. I'm going to get into how to take public transportation. Okay, I'm going to get into like I said, personal hygiene. I'm going to get into sex ed. I'm going to get into a bunch of stuff. Right now, I'm in the process of signing myself up for a Dixie, but a positive Dixie, because I still want to learn Quran. I still want to learn the Deen. But a lot of these places be very suspect. I'm not even kidding. It's very suspicious. I'm going to get into budgeting. There's just so much I want to talk about when it comes to home ec. I'm also going to get into specifically food preservation. Before I moved out, because I never really had any control over the kitchen in my family's home, I watched hour-long videos about how to store food in the fridge, how to preserve food in the fridge, how to stack food in the fridge. For example, do not put meat on the top shelf if you're defrosting anything, or if you're defrosting any cut of meat on the top shelf in your fridge. Why? Because the bacteria and the liquids can drip down to the rest of your food. If you have a 2-drawer setup in your fridge, there is one that has to be for vegetables and there is one that has to be for fruits. And they have these little things that you can move back and forth, and depending on the setting that you put that in, it's going to be better for vegetables and it's going to be better for fruit. Also, I did a lot of research on containers that I use for food. I'm gonna go grab it. I got heavily into food storage and food preservation, because what's the point of buying a bunch of groceries or making a really nice meal just to put a Dixie in the motherfucking fridge? I'm sorry, I just hate dysfunctional homes. I deeply hate them. I bought a lunchbox when I first moved out because I wanted to take food from home to work, but then I would leave containers of food sitting in my lunchbox for days. And then I was like, you know what, fuck it. I already buy multiple coffee drinks a week, and I drink out of plastic cups, and I drink out of Alani cans. I might as well get paper bags, put my lunch in there, put my lunch in Ziploc bags or disposable containers, and then just throw the shit away at my office. Instead of worrying about, I have to unload my lunchbox, I just got a massive pack of brown paper bags, and I take them to work, or I take them to wherever I need food or a lunch packed, and then I throw it away. And I don't have to do the mental labor of having to wash a dish or clean out a lunchbox that has rotten food in it. These are free. Not free, well, they're basically free. I got a massive pack of them for, I think, $1.50. So I have this for my lunches. I have another stack of these that I have. What they're called is food storage containers. They're used in restaurants. I've worked at a restaurant before, and this is what we use. This is a larger size. Actually, there's 3 different sizes here. There's a 32 ounce, 16 ounce, and 8 ounce. And what I like to do is I will put my maraq in there. And then the reason why I decided to go with these instead of regular Tupperware lids is because this is a universal system. Every lid fits every cup, every size cup. And anywhere you buy one of these ones, the lids will automatically fit the ones that you have at home. So you won't have a bunch of mismatched Tupperware with mismatched lids. Trust me, pick this system over the system of having random Tupperware one from Target, one from Walmart, one from here, one from there, eventually collecting into randomly stained containers with randomly, loose lids out and about in your kitchen. Get this system, and what I like to do is I have this blue tape in a drawer, and I will just write the date, right? I put soup, the date, and I put it in the fridge. I put fruit, for example, the way I preserve my potatoes, let's just say I have a dish that required potatoes, but I peeled way too many potatoes. All you need to do is get a smaller 8 ounce cup of this, cut up the potatoes, unpeeled obviously, put a little bit of water in that container, and then submerge the potatoes. They will stay crisp for a very long time. They will not brown, they will not turn gross. They will be in that water, unable to interact with oxygen, which will not rot them. This goes for celery. This goes for a bunch of other vegetables that wilt and turn nasty because they are exposed to oxygen. If you can't tell, I am on the spectrum. But I'm on the spectrum when it comes to being just a trad weirdo, which is very embarrassing when you are a blue-haired liberal. Like, why do I like all this trad shit? I am not a traitor. I am not a traitor. I rebuke that. I am trad when it comes to being girly, feminine, and like the type of woman that would cook up a poison to kill her husband. Not baking sourdough bread so I can serve the master of the house. No, bitch. I'm cooking up something using whatever I got from the apothecary to send you to the afterlife. That's the type of bitch I am, but like, no shade. I also got into using Ziploc bags. Again, all of this is pretty straightforward, but when you come from an ethnic household that like just wraps shit up with tinfoil and put bowls in the fridge, it's not expensive. When I literally went to the store and I started shopping for myself, I realized these are not expensive. Why the fuck did my parents not buy these? I'm gonna get into food preservation. I'm gonna get into buying canned goods. This is something that I had to learn after I moved out. I would only ever buy fresh vegetables and blah, 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 blah. But when you're budgeting, buying canned peas is not much different than buying regular peas in a bag. Buying chopped up tomatoes is cheaper per pound or whatever if you do the calculations than buying fresh tomatoes, and they last longer. I have an entire cabinet full of canned goods. Actually, like half of my kitchen is filled with canned goods that I eat on a daily basis. For example, I like eating pineapples throughout the week. It is way cheaper and better for me because I'm a very busy person, and whenever I've bought fresh pineapple, it's rotted on my counter because I forgot about it, and also I was lazy or too lazy to cut it up. So I will show you my canned goods section. A lot of Somali parents or Somali family members do not actively cook with canned goods. They will go to the store, they will go to Aldi, they will go to Costco, they will get fresh vegetables and they will cook with that. But that can be a bit more expensive than buying canned peas, canned beans, canned everything. Let me show you. I have pineapples, I have applesauce, I have random stuff, I have beans, I have fish, I have, like, I'm talking all the way back. And then in here, I have like my spices, and then there I have other stuff, like I have extra rice, and the college that I go to has like a food pantry. I go there, like, for example, if I have 3 classes that day, I will go there twice. And I will pack up everything they have in there 2 times because period. This is my food storage cabinet. That's where I grabbed everything from. The little knob fell off this drawer. Oh my god, this drawer is becoming messy. But this is my coffee and drinks drawer. It's very messy right now. I'm gonna fix it. Down here, I have my onions and potatoes. And in this box, to save myself money when it comes to like constantly making drinks for myself, I bought a 100 pack set of cups from Amazon, and I'm just gonna restock my little coffee drawer. But I have straws, I have cups, I have lids. It, for some reason, gives off the placebo effect as if I went to a coffee shop, and it helps me save money. I'm gonna get into like where I buy my cleaning supplies, what I use to clean, what you really truly need to clean, like nothing too much, nothing extra. So here again is my little drink cups and straws that I got from Amazon. Anytime I wash dishes by hand and I'm gonna let them air dry, instead of like letting them just sit in the sink, which is really nasty, or just letting them sit on top of my counter, I bought this a dish drying mat that I put on my counter, and I will put like the larger Dixio that can't go in my dishwasher because my dishwasher is slightly smaller. And then the only towels I use to clean is microfiber cloths. Every 2 months I will switch this out. I bought a 2-pack, but I gave the other pack to my mom because this is more than enough. So like in 2 months I'm gonna, or actually it's getting to that point almost, I'm gonna switch out this one for a fresh one, excuse me. And then I also have one that's in my bathroom, specifically just for the bathroom. And then obviously I have more lunch bags that I get to throw away and not think of. When I first started using my dishwasher, right, my dishes would come out with little specks on them. So I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I literally washed this, I put in a nice, dishwasher pod. What's going on? I discovered that you have to buy a rinse aid for your dishwasher in order for your dishes to come out sparkling with no hard watermarks, okay? With no little white specks on them. On the glass, on the plates, on anything, on the forks. Like, my shit comes out like quite literally sparkling. And I bought this from Walmart for maybe like $2. And I like to use dishwasher pods, but it's better to use the liquid detergent. But like, I don't know, I don't want to dispense shit. I just want to grab something, put it in there. So weird, but it can help. And then let's see, I have this little concoction of dish soap and vinegar. I use this to clean out my sink, and also I use that to clean my stainless steel appliances. The key to not have vinegar smell like vinegar is to microwave it. When you microwave it, or when you like boil it or heat it up, it like for some reason doesn't smell as bad. So and then I'm also going to go into how to shop for household appliances. For example, I got this set of 3 little containers from Goodwill. I bought most of my dishes and stuff from Goodwill. I literally bought nothing new. For example, I literally got this air fryer from Goodwill, which is probably the nastiest thing about me, but I don't give a fuck. Bitch literally bought an air fryer from Goodwill. I don't care though. This is for my sugar. This is for my brown sugar. This is for my flour. And I was so sad when I chipped this little corner because it was perfect, but it's not really a big deal. That's for my flour. I have been baking recently, so I have to top that off. These are my dishes. A lot of them are in the dishwasher right now. I'm gonna start it before I go to bed. But like, do not buy these. Do not buy Tupperware that looks like this. You're gonna end up with a bunch of random motherfucking lids. And if you live in an apartment for 2 to 3 years or for a while, you're gonna accumulate a bunch of random lids and, containers that won't match. And then you're gonna be like, damn, I have all these random lids. Like, I'm pretty sure right now, if you go into your kitchen, you're gonna open up a random drawer that has a random lid that goes with no containers that you have. Just go with the containers that I showed you. Anytime you need to buy a container, order them off Amazon, and they will fit they will fit each other perfectly. Okay, they are usually used in restaurants because it's a universal system. It's way better. Anyways, what else am I gonna show you guys? This is the laundry that I have to fold. It's all clean, if you can't tell, but I got this super cute closet. It's very small, but I was able to build it with my sister, and it fits perfectly in my apartment. And this little container has like my hijab, socks, underwear, everything. I got this for $10 at Savers. Okay. At first, I just had this basket, but I'm like, ooh, I don't like how that looks. Like, people can literally just walk into my apartment and see like my bra. I wanted to put it away, and I didn't want it getting lost in here. Like, I didn't want my socks in here. So I got this for $10 at a thrift store. I'm not really gonna go into my bathroom because it's kind of gross, but also I got this nice little calendar. I have not updated it for July, but for the month of June, I had like my payday. I had all of my appointments. I had everything listed here. I don't know. I don't want to get into too much right now. But I'm a nerd. I'm a trad nerd. Someone just kill me. How the fuck did I end up a trad nerd? Did I please Ian Hadiso? Because in my mind, I'm the type of girl that literally is out every single day, that is shaking her ass on top of cars, that's like in Miami and getting tricked on and like running off from dates and stuff and like abusing men. No, bitch, I'm watching 10-hour long videos on how to preserve food. Ilahe. This is so embarrassing. That is the most embarrassing thing about me. No. But bitch, I genuinely like this shit. I genuinely like this shit. Moving on, I'm just gonna get into everything. Quite literally everything. I'm gonna get into, I'm gonna take you guys grocery shopping. I'm gonna sit down with you guys and pull up my Experian account, and I'm gonna go through my credit score. I'm gonna show you guys how I have zero debt, zero credit card debt, zero anything, and I'm still able to live a good life. I'm gonna show you guys my bank account. I'm gonna show you guys my bills account. I'm gonna go through my Wi-Fi, my electricity, my car insurance, everything, all my bills. I'm gonna show it to you guys, and I'm gonna take you guys grocery shopping, and then I'm gonna take you guys with me when it comes to cooking, and then I'm gonna show you guys my meal preps, and then I'm gonna show you guys my lunches, and then I'm gonna show you guys every single transaction that I have for a solid month. Like, I'm gonna pick, right now I'm kind of halfway done with July, but when August starts, I'm gonna start fresh. I'm gonna show you guys how I pay my rent this month. I'm gonna go grocery shopping tomorrow. I'm gonna meal prep tomorrow, so I'm gonna film that, and I'm gonna upload it maybe Monday or maybe tomorrow, like, because tomorrow's Saturday. But for the month of August, I'm gonna show you guys every single bill that I have, every single receipt that I have, how all that adds up, and how I'm not a millionaire. Like, I'm not making $1 billion. I'm a working person. Quite literally, I'm a normal person. So what else? There's just so much that I'm like blanking on. I'm also gonna show you guys how to enroll for college, how to apply for scholarships, and how to get similar grants to the one that I have right now that's offering me a great life. Also, if there is anything else that I have not talked about tonight in this video, go ahead and comment down below, because a lot of the things that I know, I just intuitively know or have taught myself and don't think of it tonight. There's a lot of things that I do that are weird because I've spent 4 hours researching them, and then I assume everyone else has. So comment down below. I'm pretty sure I'm skipping over a bunch of stuff. Yeah, that's it to the introduction to the home economics. Moving forward, actually, yeah, before I end this video off, I am gonna touch on 2 topics at a time when it comes to the home economics series, okay? Or the adulting series. The first 2 series, or the first 2 topics I'm gonna pick is the mental state. There's no point in teaching you how to be a proper adult if you're still obsessed with being a stay-at-home daughter, or you still plan on a magical man that's gonna descend down from the heavens, who's gonna pluck you out of your obscurity and place you in a big-ass home. Like, if that is the mentality you have, you're never gonna truly put effort into turning yourself into a proper adult. You're always gonna stay somebody's daughter, somebody's wife. You're always gonna stay independent. You're never gonna be an independent person. You're gonna stay independent, which is slang from the military world. I fell down a whole rabbit hole of dependas and their entitled behavior. Really, really funny. If you're kind of bored right now, search up dependas military. You're gonna find a bunch of crazy stories. But a lot of Muslim girls act like dependas. No shade, no shade. No money, no education, no ability to stand on their own 2 feet in their adult lives, but somehow a man's gonna give them everything. Okay, you know what that man's gonna give you? He's gonna give you a knuckle sandwich. And you know what you're not gonna be able to do? You're not gonna be able to leave him. And then the second topic I'm gonna touch on is gonna be finances, okay? The mental state, or the mental outlook, and then finances. I'm gonna touch on both of those topics at the same time.